If you think that you've performed a perfect runner alignment with your runner plank on the sawhorses upside down, you may be very wrong. Watch this episode to find out why. Dzień dobry from Gdańsk again. This is episode number 3 about hull to plank fixing. In episode number 1, I explained why I believe the tripod system is the best system. In episode number 2, I have explained how to install the system. And in this episode, we will cover the most important part, which is runner plank and hull calibration. This is brand new plank, and I never done any runner alignment with this plank. I use standard runner alignment fixture with cord used by many sailors for decades already. So very reliable and well-known solution. And I would like to demonstrate the importance of proper calibration of your runner plank and the hull. You should never trust the plank builder that the supporting blocks that are located on the plank are always perfectly aligned in a horizontal line, even though I put a lot of attention to make it best I can. It always requires a fine-tuning if you want to make most out of the plank performance on the ice. Let me come close to the runner and I will show you how the default setup before any calibration looks like. After you get new plank, you probably do the runner alignment and make it perfect, I have no doubt about it, with the plank being disconnected from the hull. And you are happy with the result, go out on the ice, put the plank and hull together, and never wonder how the plank really works when you did not even think about calibrating hull and plank. So here is the drill. I will install, so this is the basic setup. The plank is fixed to the hull as I would normally take it out on the ice before this exercise. So default setup. Now I will attach a level to the bottom of the chock, and that level will indicate whether my chock is set parallel to the ice surface. Let me install the level first and then I will make a close-up. And here is our first surprise. So I fixed the level to the bottom of the chock line, and the result is following. If I would go on the ice just like that without any modifications, here is how the level is off. This means that the chock is not set parallel to the ice surface. Why is it important? Imagine the plank being straight and plain, with chocks and runners installed perpendicular to plank and ice surface. Then any tilt in the plank, fore or aft, will be neutral to the alignment. Meaning that if you tilt it forward, the plank will stay in place. If you tilt it backward, the runners will not move. But in reality, our planks are curved, with runners and chocks installed in a way that runners are facing to the inside at an angle. This means, and the draft of the plank is somewhere between 4 to 6 or even more, in some cases more than 6 centimeters. Now, when you tilt a plank forward or backward, fore or aft, then it will influence very strongly runner alignment. So if your plank is not calibrated to the hull, it may strongly affect your runner alignment. So if you do your runner alignment with the plank being detached from the boat, from the hull, on the sawhorse, and you are happy with the result, it doesn't mean that if you put all the pieces together and sail the boat, the runners will be as you think they are in reality. So you just notice that my plank level is off by single degrees, and I will try to demonstrate how it influences the runner alignment. This measurement shows that the runner plank is pretty much off. What you see now is my end of my fixture with a laser line engraved. I hope you can see it clearly in this light. And if my runner is perfectly 90 degrees to the cord should overlap with engraved line. As you can see on this example, the cord is a little bit off. Not much, but to my eye it looks like around 1.5 millimeter off. And this is the result of the fact that my runner is fixed in a wrong position. Now I will get inside the boat to simulate dynamic load. So my weight is around 92 kilos. I'm sitting in a boat, and you may see, hopefully you may see, that the cord is still off a little bit from the engraved line. The gap has decreased a little bit, but it's still off. Now let's install the wedges, and I will use those two wedges. These are 2 millimeters wedges, and I will insert them between the plank and the hull to change the angle of the plank while the plank is being fixed to the hull. Okay, I'm not sure if you're going to see what I installed, but I think it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy exercise. I have loosened the screws, the bolts that hold the plank and hull together, and I'm trying to fit a 2 millimeter wedge at the edge of the plank, and therefore I will lower the aft part of the plank and change the angle of the plank while it's being installed in the hull. I do it on both sides, and we will see the result very soon. Here it is. Here is the improvement after installing a 2 millimeter wedge, and you can see that the air bubble is almost there, but it's still missing a fraction, so probably I have to replace this 2 millimeters wedge with 3 millimeters, and let's see if it helps. So now I'm going to install a 3 mil wedge. This is a gray color. Oh, what a crazy episode is this. Bolts are loosened again, and I install the wedge on both sides. Good, I just finished installing 3 mils wedge, and let's have a look at the outcome of this action, of this exercise. So I'm pretty happy with where the bubble is. That means I can consider this part of the exercise done, and now it's time to see how it really affects the runner alignment. So I'm moving back to my tripod, and I will be filming the end of my runner alignment fixture to see how it affected runner alignment. Okay, camera is fixed, and I'm jumping into the boat with my full 92 kilos. and give it a little jump again to simulate dynamic loads. I'm not sure if you can see with the camera, but it looks like the cord stays dead on the laser line. This means that the reading on my alignment now has completely changed from being 1 or even more than 1 millimeter off to close to perfect. Let me take the light out of the other tripod and see if it can help. So again, as you see, line perfectly overlaps engraved laser line, meaning that I'm right dead on the spot. I hope that this simple exercise and example has proven that it is critical to fine-tune the combination between a hull and a plank, because it may strongly influence your runner alignment, and the more you are off, the more you will feel it during sailing, especially in light breeze. And of course I will not leave it with this small test wedges. I have a very simple solution. I printed a number of different sizes of wedges, starting from neutral 1 millimeter thickness throughout the whole length of the plate. It's just a protective plate between the wooden riser on the plank and a steel tripod on the hull to protect the riser surface. But then I move on to the wedges that starts from 1 millimeter on one end and 2 millimeters on the other end, and I keep one on one end and increase on the other end to create a range of wedges. The biggest one, I think, is starts with 1, ends with 4 millimeters, so 3 mils effective wedge distance, and that should be sufficient to correct most of the errors. If I had error bigger than 3 millimeters, then I would probably try to work with wooden blocks, wooden risers on the plank. I would try to plane them to change the overall angle of the block, and then start calibration process again to avoid this high risers. And as a bonus, I can perform a simple exercise with manually tilting the plank fore and aft to see what will be the outcome if the plank tilt will be more than what we have just started with. Okay, this is my setup. As you see, the hull is disconnected from the plank. I have a tripod throwing a beam of light on the end of the alignment fixture. I have a second tripod with a camera looking at the level, at the air bubble. I will try to position GoPro in the best possible way so that you can track what happens when I tilt the plank. And at this point, the plank seems to be right on spot. Sweet. And now time to tilt the plank forward and see what's going to happen. Okay. So I a little bit exaggerated, but I moved the plank forward, meaning that the ends of the runners came closer together and the cord got a little bit loose, but anyway, it's still, you can see a significant change in runner alignment. And the same will happen when I tilt the plank the other way. There you go. We are off again by a lot. And I think this is the easiest illustration of why you should always take care of calibrating your plank and hull every time you get a new plank or new hull, but rather new plank, because plank is more problematic than a hull. And this is it. A very simple exercise, a very clear example of why you should take care of calibrating your runner plank and the hull. It's pretty easy to do it by yourself, and it will for sure improve your speed, especially in light breeze. When it blows strong, then probably any runner alignment will work fine, because your windward runner is always barely touching the ice surface. But every time the wind dies and you are forced to sail just on the edge, then runner alignment can be a key factor, especially downwind. Therefore, talk to your friends. If you don't own a runner alignment fixture, talk to your friends who have one, and perform this exercise together. In my case, even though I had new runner plank, and I'm pretty sure if I put it on the saw horses and measure the alignment, it will be dead on spot. But you witnessed that when I install it to my hull and I put it together, the alignment is off, just simply because of that little error that the plank is tilted forward or backward. And measuring runner alignment with this fixture, cord fixture, is by far, in my opinion, the best method, because it represents the real behavior on the plank of your plank under dynamic load. You can put as much load into the cockpit as you like. I sometimes ask my daughter to join me and jump in the boat to put an extra weight and see how the plank behaves. And you cannot simulate this when you have plank taken away from the hull. Or maybe you can, but not in such a precise one-to-one way as it is with this setup. 75% of you watching this Tech Talks are not subscribed to this channel. Therefore, please subscribe. That will enhance the algorithms, YouTube algorithms, and make this series of Tech Talks more available and more visible to all sailors worldwide. Give it a thumb up and subscribe. Thank you. See you in next episode. The next episode is about runner sharpener calibration. So calibration again. See you soon.